Hey, I want to talk about what it means to have a feel-good summer. I know I'm kind of hit or miss here, communicating with you. Usually during the school year, I'm talking about practical tips for managing challenging behaviors and, of course, fire in the brain. I wanted to break down some of the things that we can do when we're under a lot of stress that we can enjoy this beautiful weather. I love to have my meetings outside, and I like to scale back a little bit with work hours when I can, when I'm feeling supported enough in the business. I wanted to share and break down some of the things that I'm doing to feel good this summer, rather than talking about how exactly to manage big emotions or get your kid into bed and follow a nighttime routine, even though the sun is still shining late at night. And I just wanted to catch up with you in this personal way right here. I've been reading this book called, I'm going to spell it out for you in case you have kids listening. It's a fiction book called Night. And the reason I'm referencing this book is because it's reminding me of what happened when I first had my child 4 years ago. Even though I've been working in this field for 20 years, being a behavior specialist is so different than having your own kid and having that felt experience in your body of things that might happen, like our story, which included birth trauma and exhaustion, obviously, hearing baby cries and then toddler cries and then 3-year-old cries and the stomach, like my stomach just being sick from adrenaline and needing to work and do some healing around that. I'm surrounded by a team of practitioners since my husband's a chiropractor. And so we work on our nervous system and I work on my emotional well-being with people regularly. As I'm reading this book and recalling, if you haven't heard this story, it's about this woman who turns into a dog at nighttime, and it's processing and talking about like what it is to have these feelings of rage and anger, and how do you regain your power when you're at home with a little kid and it's not what you expected. You're like learning who you are and who your identity is as this person that has more wholeness and more spectrum of feelings and experiences, and many of them being really difficult. It was just the story that I could really relate to. In light of all that, what if we could talk about how do we gain our own power back? How do we have feel good summers? How do we reignite the flame of hope when we've been trying to have more energy, to feel better, to feel grounded, to have a clear mind? Speaking to all my friends who might be navigating perimenopause, what can we do when we're coming out of a phase, or maybe even currently navigating a phase where we still feel that exhaustion or we're lacking happiness? Or I was speaking to a therapist type not too long ago about those days when I just felt ruined. How do I recover this sense of joy and this sense of feeling good? And so I wanted to bring you this message today of small habits. I had a friend who invited me to a small habit group. And the thing about small habits is it's in line with this concept of self-care. We hear about self-care a lot. We talk about self-care a lot. And then we say, well, but my kid's baseball schedule, or my kid's still sleeping in bed with me. So I don't want to take the time to roll out of bed because my kid wakes up. All of that stuff is really true and it's really real. And there's a point where I've reached where I felt tired of waiting. I felt like I keep putting these things off into the distance. I'm feeling really busy, but I'm not actually accomplishing having less brain fog. I'm not actually accomplishing the feeling of hormonal balance, feeling strong, feeling energized. So my friend invited me to her group. Spoiler alert, it was a body fitness group, which is amazing. And I super loved it when I joined it literally the day before I moved on May 31st, where there's like this virtual gym and we click on between 5 and 7 a.m. Like these habits have made such a big difference for me. This concept of something that I can do regularly, but also be in a community of women. Why am I talking about this? How does this relate to you? You have possibly an entirely different situation, is because I want you to think about what would feel good. And for me, as somebody who was a competitive rower before I got, as somebody who also had to go through physical therapy and rehab because I broke my ankle about 5 weeks before giving birth, and then going through this whole new motherhood process and needing to figure out how do I literally get physical balance and strength back into my body to navigate those early days of parenting and the rest of my life. I want you to consider, like, do you need something that you know makes you happy, but you haven't found a way to achieve it yet? I needed workouts that were less intense. I have never enjoyed working out online until now. I've always gone into a gym or yoga or walked with a friend, liking to be around other people's energy. Take this opportunity to think about Like, do you have enough community around you? Do you have people who know your goals? Do you have somebody that you can talk to and you can say, I feel ruined? Tears stream down your face and feel that support and really feel heard. Do you have a practice of a hobby that you like where maybe you can let go of reading the personal development books and read fiction, or vice versa, flip it up for this summer? Like, what would actually make you feel good? Do you need some support with hormones and gut health? I have a nanny at the house right now, and she is watching some other kids with my son, but on the other side of that three-season porch there, we've got a cold plunge. After listening to somebody who has mentored and inspired me, Coach Michael Krug, shout out to you for your 300 days of cold plunge over the last year. What have you heard others are doing that you would love to do? Not from a comparison perspective, not like, oh, I need to book a trip and be adventurous and all this stuff. Do you just need some more community around you? Do you need somebody to cheer you on do you like the idea of joining my crew? Do you want to work out from 5 to 7 a.m. with me in my virtual gym? Like, all of these things are options. So finding your community, finding what makes you feel good, maybe asking yourself, like, if not now, when? And so I just invite you to have those considerations. Summertime can be such a nice season for reflection, especially if you're able to get outside and be in nature instead of in your head and thinking about your to-do list all the time. As much as I care for children, I also want to like radiate that love out towards you and let you know that I care about you and I care about your health and I care about how you're feeling this summer. And if you wanted to connect in any way around parenting or around your health, drop me a line, DM me, reply to this. I'd love to hear if you have something that you're doing that feels really good for your habits this summer, let me know that too. All right, let's be in touch and I'll talk to you more later this summer.